Hey guys, Tom here. I'm doing this video because a while back I did a video about the truest example of true love that I found, which was my parents, and sadly it was 20 minutes long and wouldn't upload, so I thought I would do another one and just condense it a little bit, cut out some of the flowery language, and hopefully get this up and spread something good on Tumblr and on YouTube. I would apologise for my attire, but as those of you out there who have a onesie know, it is the most comfortable thing known to man. I should have probably got up and got lunch about an hour and a half ago, but the idea of getting dressed is a mountain that I'm yet to want to climb. So instead, I've stayed in this and watched Modern Family, which, if you haven't seen it, is one of the funniest comedies to come out in the last couple of years, and it is truly brilliant. I really recommend it. Anyway, the reason I'm doing this is about my parents. Now, I'm one of 4 boys, the youngest at 23. My mum is called Elizabeth Packer, and my dad is John Packer. Now, a little bit back history. My mum lived in Taunton, and her parents who adopted her, my grandparents, were not the nicest of people. They probably shouldn't have adopted. I won't go into details because that's a bit too personal, but suffice to say, she lived an extreme version of Harry Potter's lifestyle in the first book at the beginning. As a little bit of frame of reference out there, mainly for you girls, when she was 16 her hair went permanently grey from stress, so you can imagine what it was like. Now my dad, on the other hand, lived in Cheddar Gorge. He worked 23 hours a day on his father's farm, you know, extreme amounts of time, and yeah, he was a proper country bumpkin. Had the Wurzels play at his prom. If you don't know who the Wurzels are, just YouTube Combine Harvester. I've got a brand new Combine Harvester, and you'll delight in the sophistication of these songs that come your way. Now, they met at Bristol University. The way they got there was my dad did his O-levels via post and aced them and got in. My mum wanted to study French. She was gifted with it, but sadly, because of home life, her exams didn't go well the first time round. Now, her first choice university knew how good she was, and after speaking with the headmaster, they said, we'll definitely offer you a place next year. We do apologise, just, you know, just give it a year and you're guaranteed to come to us. However, my mum couldn't do that because she couldn't spend another year at home. So she went to Bristol University, where she met my dad. There was about a 6-7 year age difference, and the way they met was a little bit cheeky and a little bit different, which is probably, hopefully, where I pick it up from. But back then, the way the student halls were set out was it was a level of gender, and then a separate level of gender, and then a separate level of gender. So you had girls, boys, girls. Now, my dad went upstairs one night when his kitchen electricity blew out and he had no food, and he went upstairs and obviously met my mum in their kitchen and asked her to cook him something for dinner. So she cooked him broken omelette and green jelly. Now, the reason I know that so well is they have that for quite a few of their anniversary meals. Yeah, they met from there, they got talking, and it was wonderful. They hit it off and spent most of university together, and afterwards, after they graduated and after a bit of time, they got married. Now, the beautiful thing about their wedding was it cost them about £46 because my grandparents didn't approve of my dad at all, and what they did was they went to the registry office, where my mum's brother rushed out and bought a happy birthday cake and scraped off happy birthday and tried to put something faintly wedding-esque on it. My mum's wedding dress consisted of a red dress she bought from a high street store and a hat. The dress cost about £9.99. My dad had a suit, luckily, and then all that was left was the registry fees. Now, I know that's not the big glamorous wedding that Prince Philip had, or you see when you walk through your city and you hear the bells of the city church chiming, but it was perfect for them, I think, because it was against the odds, and it was something so beautifully wonderful and so grandiose to come out of its origins, which was so kind of moored and stuck in this sort of negative situation from which they both came from, and they both really made something of themselves. Now, the reason I think they're the truest example of true love is they've been married 40 years. It was their 40th anniversary in January. Friends came round, got them 40 presents coinciding with rubies in them somehow, from jam to wine, but that's a separate story. Now, through those 40 years, you need to understand that my oldest brother Matthew is brilliant. He looked after us when we were little. The next brother down, Oliver, has a variety of disabilities, not one particular one. The next brother down is Joe, who's ginger. You can decide for you how bad that is on the scale of the other two. And then finally there's me. And yeah, my parents have looked after all of us, and we've all gone completely separate ways. So different, and the most amazing skill they've had is not pushing any of us into a particular thing. Somehow, with 4 completely different sons, they've let us find our own ways, and obviously I thank them for that. Now, just to let you understand, they moved to Norwich. My dad became the chief executive of City Council, which is one down from the mayor, and he got an OBE, which is the Order of the British Empire, given to him by the Queen. The reason he got that was for duties towards his local county, which basically means he did a lot of good. For instance, when we first moved, the Theatre Royal and the Playhouse were going to be bulldozed and replaced with car parks, and he stopped that. Second of all, he had a hand in the organisation of the building of the Millennium Library, the Forum Library, which is a phenomenal piece of architecture and a huge benefit to the city. And thirdly, he was the first man in local government to stand behind a woman in a sexual harassment case against a superior. You know, he gave her his support and help. Now, about 12-13 years ago, he got diagnosed with Parkinson's, which is a neurological disease, which, if you're not sure about it, the simplest method to explain it is that the pathways that go from your brain to your fingertips to your toes, that send messages back and forth, get fried. They get tumbled up, they get, wound up, and it's a progressive disease that doesn't have any cure. So it's quite a horrific thing. Obviously it's difficult for my mum, because she's now become the sole parent, because she can't rely on my dad as his memory goes and he's forgetful and all of this. But also for my dad, he thinks he can do a lot that he can't. I mean, you've got to understand, he's had Parkinson's and it's severe now, but he still cycles to his allotment and does work on there. I mean, 2 years ago I helped him build a shed from scrap, just crap bits of wood. Now, I couldn't do it by myself, and I'm a fairly fit 23-year-old, if a little bit lazy. So yeah, they've gone through that. My mum's had breast cancer twice. So they've been hit a lot with a lot of things, but they've still worked through it together, and they're still together now. On top of that, myself, I'll be honest, when I was 16 up to about 19, I was a horrible son, a terrible brother, and not a very nice person. I made life hell for them, and I'll always regret that, but it's happened. I'm better for it now. I've got past it, and my relationship with my family is brilliant. Now, another thing you need to understand, my brother Oliver, he's got disabilities. He is a wonderful person. The best way to describe him is, imagine a person, a human being, without any ability to lie, without any ability to think of getting one over other people for his own gain. Take away all the guilt, take away all the nastiness, all the backbiting, take away all the backstabbing, and that's my brother Oliver. He might not have the best interaction skills, his spelling might be truly atrocious, and he might tell the most awful same jokes, but it's wonderful. He is a wonderful person. He's a good soul, and we need them on this earth. The reason I wanted to do this video was they've been together 40 years. They've gone through Parkinson's, cancer, myself being an awful son, difficulties with other brothers, and yet they still, at the end of the night, have time to go and have a cuddle before they go to their separate bedrooms, because they both snore like you wouldn't believe. They still have time to laugh, to walk, go for walks in the snow, and it's truly wonderful. And I remember my ex telling me that I wasn't a romantic because I didn't believe in love at first sight, and she's wrong. I don't believe in love at first sight because I think you can only fall in lust at first sight. I think going through what my parents have gone through, 40 years of a relationship, going through hard times, going through arguments, and still at the end of the day being able to have that closeness is truly breathtaking, and has set myself an unfortunate high standard for relationships, as nowadays everyone seems to want to get involved, get married, get pregnant in like the space of a year and a half, because everyone seems to be afraid of being alone. So I guess this is just a video to say that there is hope, and there are wonderful things out there no matter what beginnings or what part of your life you're in. And thank you, Mum and Dad, for truly being amazing, not just as people but as parents. I mean, on top of caring for all of us and worrying about us, my mum was a teacher for disabled children, and she took me out of class when I was about 13 and took me there for a day, and it was the most humbling experience of my life. All these lovely welcoming kids. So yeah, there's not really a smooth way to end this. I guess to say that that is what I think of as true love. My parents have battled against the odds, they've battled against each other at times, but in the end they've endured, and they're together, and they still find the light in the moments, they still find the love, they still care, and I think that's huge. And I'm just thankful to have such a shining example of how a marriage and a relationship that works should be. So yeah, I hope everyone's had a nice week, and I'll speak to you soon.